Gail, you were at the Emirates yesterday. If you look back to last season, the injuries that they've got at the moment, it would have spelled the end of their season, wouldn't it? But it feels like after the transfer window that they've had, we don't seem to be focusing on those injuries so much and more on Arsenal's squad depth. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the obvious one is Ødegaard. I mean, had he gone down in the way he did yesterday, last season, or any of the previous three, really, it would have been seen as a disaster. I mean, like, we remember actually it was at this exact time last year, because it was just after the September international break, that he had the ankle injury away with Norway. And there was real worry within Arsenal. Whereas now they could just, I mean, even on the day itself, they just carried on as they were. And I think it is going to be a big thing this season, because I asked Arteta this after the game. Obviously, a big mission of this window was not just buying a forward and giving themselves a different option there, but actually adding real depth. And that is a specific response to the fact that the Champions League is now a parallel league season. So it's going to be very difficult. I mean, like, look, the strength of Liverpool last year, say, was having Salah and Van Dijk on the pitch. I think they were the two players with the most minutes up until March, when Liverpool pretty much won the league. And they had a very strong first 11 and a pretty strong 14 to 16. Whereas I think Arteta's thinking now is you're going to need much more to maintain the same level if you have games every 3 days, which they pretty much do now until February.
Evolution. Riyadh, welcome back, by the way. It's been far too long.
Well, I didn't want to point this out, Darmish, but I think I was actually on the last show of the previous Carnation, so let's hope that's not an omen.
Well, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. You were at the Emirates as well.
I was.
Yesterday. Miguel mentions evolution. Is that how you're seeing it? Because if you look at the injuries, he just mentioned Ødegaard, but Saliba's not there. Mm-hmm. Saka's injured. Ben White wasn't there. There are a couple of others who I've probably forgotten as well. And yet, seamlessly, they seem to just be rolling on.
I think that's the key point, isn't it? The squad depth there. And Arteta's made a big play on wanting to have 2 players for every position. But you look at that bench yesterday, where they're able to give Declan Rice a little bit of a breather, still completely dominate the midfield. They've got Trossard, they've got Martinelli on the bench. They've got real depth, and as you say there, they've still got Saka to come back in. They've still got Saliba, who are 2 of the absolute key players in that squad. So Havertz as well. So they've got real depth, and I agree with what Miguel's saying there about an evolution. I think we've still got the same question about whether or not they're going to be. They've got no shortage of creativity, and it's about putting those chances away. And Gyökeres, he's got 3 goals. He scored another one yesterday. He, for me, seems to answer that question. But I think we're still seeing him at about 80%. I don't think they've come close to unlocking that yet. It's going to take time adapting to the speed of the Premier League. But I think what I noticed yesterday in the second half, and it's why I was actually surprised they took him off after about 70 minutes. In that second half, we were really starting to see a sign that with Eze and Madueke, he was starting to build an understanding, a relationship. There was the move where he's actually started it from over towards the left of the area. He's worked it into Madueke. He's overlapped it and then crashed it against the outside of the post. They're starting to become that understanding. If they can nail that, this team, this squad, they've got a seriously good chance. And of course, we've had the running commentary of the last few years that Arsenal, Arteta, they're destined for second place forevermore. This group does look different. If it falls short, it will not be down to squad depth. And again, we'll see what the situation is with Ødegaard. They don't think it's serious. He'll be having an assessment today. You can't take a guy like that out. But when Nwaneri came in, there was no drop off at all. They had the options to be able to handle it. We'll probably talk more in depth about Zubimendi in a minute, but I look at him as that's the player who is quite possibly going to be the entire difference to their season. I think he drives everything.
Charlotte, we keep talking about squad depth. Now, in the Telegraph, it says, the subdeck here, Arteta new boys give fearsome depth, but will it be enough? The bookies still make Liverpool the favourites, but when you look at the Arsenal squad, is it the best squad in the league now? The most rounded and the most cover in every single position now?
Quite possibly, because if you look at you could get a starting 11 and then you could have a B team, as it were. And someone said to me the other day, if you look at the B team, they're good enough to compete like nearly at the top of the table, definitely mid-table as it is anyway. So if they can get, I think the most important thing is going to be how they rotate players, like giving Declan Rice a rest yesterday in terms, and it's Zubimendi and Marina, we were just talking about it as well. They've started 174 games together. They've already got that understanding. They've managed to build a team here who have already seemed to be clicking. As Riyadh just said, the front three, this is the first time that they'd all played together. It didn't look like that. So in terms of squad depth and the way that these players, across both, if you were to put them in an A and a B team, the way that these players are already connecting across the whole squad, I think that's going to give them a real advantage. But I don't think, as Riyadh said, that it might not be the squad depth that sees them come short. I think there's a mentality, not an issue, but I think that's going to have to be something that they're going to have to really get used to get them over the line, because this is a team that has continually finished second. So those little bits to get them to beat Liverpool and to come first, I think that's going to be the difference rather than the depth. I think obviously the depth, they've got 2 players for every position now. So that excuse now is totally gone on the injuries, because that narrative plagued them, didn't it? Oh, the injuries, like we said before, like that list of players you mentioned, was incomprehensible that last season you could list that name of players and think that Arsenal wouldn't be panicked about those players being out, but there was absolutely no issue with them being out yesterday. Everyone that replaced those injured players stepped up. It was a straightforward victory for Arsenal, probably could have been more. So I think that already shows progression from where they were at.
Arsenal's bright start to the season has been the subject of lively debate on the Sunday supplement, where pundits took a closer look at how Mikel Arteta's latest squad compares to last year's team. They highlighted the impact of injuries, particularly around captain Martin Ødegaard, whose creativity and leadership remain vital for the Gunners. Despite the setbacks, there's a sense that Arteta's careful squad building during the transfer window has given Arsenal more stability and options than before. The conversation also turned to the bigger picture. Is this Arsenal side now the most well-rounded in the Premier League? With a blend of experience, tactical flexibility, and emerging stars such as Noni Madueke drawing attention, the squad looks stronger than ever. The panel agreed that Arteta may finally have a group capable of sustaining a title challenge while competing on multiple fronts, making Arsenal one of the teams to watch closely this season.